the person in front of me, if I'm in a traffic stop and or a store robbery, right, and I'm engaged in conversation, doing hostage negotiations, whatever the fuck it is, if I hear something on the radio, and unless it's something like a 78 request or a 13 alpha call that is likely going to catch my ear more than just general comms on an 80, right, or a welfare check, right? Yeah, do you know what? I might miss that because I'm focused on the person in front of me, right? My job here as a cop is to facilitate an RP, right, and to make sure this scene that I'm in right now can be the best thing it can be. The thing that I'm in right there and then with that person, that is a scene, right? And my job here is to make sure that scene is the best it can be, and fun for everyone involved. That's my priority. If you're not prioritizing that as a cop, I don't know. I don't know.
How's it going, Banks?
I'm not too bad.
What's your name again?
I'm not too bad. I've been better. I'm not too bad.
Okay, you've been better.
How are you?
What's up?
Just tired. Been a long day. Bit of heat stroke. I cut the grass today, and a bit of grass went into my eyes, and I feel a bit stuffed up.
Dispatch to 10-8 units.
Bit clogged up. The sniffles.
Okay, how you finding it out there?
He's currently hiding in.
Out on the streets like 10-8. Oh, fine.
Yeah.
No worries. No issues. I had a question a couple days ago regarding HUT. I'm yet to see a HUT trial from start to finish. I was kind of hoping to see it. They seem to be quite rare. So I did some investigation to figure out exactly what a HUT is, how it works. I had a meeting with one of the defense attorneys. And yeah, it'd be good to see it in person, though. That'd be cool. So I've been keeping a listen out to try and get involved in one. But other than that, pretty confident.
Okay, how's your radio activity been?
Good. The only feedback, I was out yesterday with Kane. I did a 3-4 hour shift with him yesterday. The only advice he provided on that shift was I have a habit of saying left, right, and that just comes from 8 years of bad of that habit, right? So that I'm trying to get rid of that.
Right.
So
Well,
active
I've had
80.
people coming up to me, FTOs, dispatch,
Yep.
Saying that you've you ignore when you're being called out on radio, you ignore when people give you status checks, and then you just out of nowhere come back saying you're 76 to a call.
Oh, really?
Things like that. Yeah.
I've had one status check from what, and I guess what I can honestly say, right, hand on my heart, I've only ever had one person or heard me hearing someone saying status check, and that was 2 days ago, and that was because I was doing paperwork here, and I went 10-7. I think it went 42 without me saying, and I was like, no, I'm still here, I'm just doing paperwork. But then I'm going 42 after I finish the forensics. But yeah, you can lie detector me. I don't know, strap me up. That's the only request I've heard.
I don't do lie detectors.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really comment on that one. If that's the perception, right? That's the perception. I can't change that. Okay. Yeah, from my understanding.
Vinny, have you been on shift with Banks?
I've been on shift with him. I was just reviewing. I don't think we've ever really rode together. And if we did, I don't think that I was the FTO for him. So I don't really have much.
No, but I'm asking if you've been on shift with him.
Yeah, he comes around late in the evening, right, Banks?
Yeah, it's usually around this time. Sometimes I have some of the EU day shifts. Typically when Frank's 10-8.
Okay, because on your cadet card,
like the
I've
early
got
guys.
Hamilton and Kane have made comments on your cadet card, but I've had other people approach me, including dispatch, about other issues regarding a radio situation.
So far?
And obviously they don't comment on the card, so I'm trying to get to the bottom of the issue here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't say that I've noticed it, but I also can't say 100% that he's been around on my shift a ton, is what I mean.
Okay, what about you, Claire? Has he been around on your shift?
I have not noticed it. Because I will say I do think the dispatchers are checking on people more. So that might be catching some people off guard. Also, could just be near people that are loud. Because I will say, I don't know if anyone else has gotten this, but the radio can be a bit quiet compared to people talking around you.
Oh, so I comment on this during a shift change. I've said this, right? So my priority Unless I hear a 13 alpha call or an 8 or a 78, the person I'm speaking with, right? If it's the 38, if it's a store robbery, the thing happening directly in front of me, that's priority, right? Now I understand there's been mentioned around listening, right, and actively listening. I struggle, right? It's a skill. I just don't want to drop my attention off the person in front of me because I'm a people person first. I'm a cop second, right? And I don't want that person in front of me to think this cop doesn't even care what I'm saying. So unless I hear a 13 alpha core or 78s, I'm gonna be honest, it's probably gonna go one ear out the other, and I'm gonna put my hand up and say that. Now, if I have time availability, right, and I'm able to take a step away, break the conversation, and say, hey, give me 2 seconds, or I'm just gonna step back. I need to deal with this on the radio. Then I'll do that, right? But whatever's happening in front of me, it can be A, really hard to hear the radio, and B, my focus on those, because if I drop my attention for 2 seconds and they put a gun on and they shoot me, I'm dead, right? So there's that. There's that. I'm also playing around with my radio, trying to make sure that the loudness of the radio isn't too loud, too quiet. Trying to find that balance. I'm stuck between 60 and 80% right now. It just depends on who's on the radio, because some people's voices are louder than others. But that's what I can comment on that. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe they've said it, and I've been in a 38. But yeah, I'm usually pretty good at that stuff. I don't know what else I can add to that, to be honest. Does that make sense?
Right, okay, yeah. Hang on, I'm just having a look here.
Yeah, you're good. As well, just while you're doing that, I've been having some. I don't know. I don't know if it's just. I think it's maybe the from your side that it's labeled incorrectly or something. Like my understanding when I was originally told I'm now solo clear, right? All I need to do is let an FTO and or supervisor know that I'm, get their approval to go 10-8. That way they know I'm out, right? I then got told, so I've been doing that for about a week, maybe, I don't know, 10 plus shifts, right? And then yesterday, I did a 3-hour shift with Kane, and Kane was like, no, you need to be with FTO. You need to do 5, you need to be 5 shifts.
So who told you were solo? Because I didn't.
Who told me I was solo?
Yeah, because I didn't tell you was.
I will say I'm the one that told Kane to make sure that he had an FTO, because I noticed that a lot of the fast tracks, and this is not just UBanks, thought that they were solo, and I corrected that. And I told Kane to make sure that he had an FTO.
So who's telling them they're solo? This is what I want to know. So who told you went solo?
I can't remember 100%. I mean, I wouldn't do it without being told.
What do they look like?
It was a guy. It wasn't a female officer.
Okay. Any features? Hair?
I'd have to.
What time did this happen?
It was probably going to be after a shift change. That's typically my most activity. I do have some shifts during the EU.
Were they wearing a white shirt or a blue shirt?
It was white. Actually, this might have been before. This might have been before the uniform. The uniforms were white. In all
definitely
honesty,
wouldn't have been.
Okay.
Definitely wouldn't have been. It would have been after when the white shirts came.
Yeah.
When we got that delivery of uniform. So that narrows it down to Nick Kane, Jack Burden, Victor Jankowski, Peter Burke, Vinny Armani, Hunter Newman, Andy Salter. So it's going to be one of them.
Literally, all that was told was, hey, you're ready to be your solo. The only requirement is that you make sure it might have been gray. I'm not 100% confident though. Possibly gray.
Matt Gray wears a blue shirt.
Okay, well, when did this happen?
It's been about a week, yeah. Week and a bit. The requirement was just to make sure there's an FTO on duty, and that they know, right, and that they've approved your solo, and or a supervisor has approved it, and that they know you're 10-8.
Make an announcement about these guys not being solo.
Yeah, I'm gonna handle that part. But what I'm trying to figure out is who actually told you, because Gray wears a blue shirt. You said it's a white shirt, so it's gonna be one of the people I mentioned.
Yeah, I know. I know, Rage.
Vic has blonde hair. Nick Kane has no hair. Peter Burke, you know who Peter Burke is, and Andy Salter, he's got a tanned skin. So it's going to be one, and Hunter Newman has tanned skin as well. So it's going to be one of them.
It'll be on a VOD.
Hunter Newman comes around.
I don't want to use VODs because that's better.
Judy probably in about another 3 hours.
It's 100% on the VOD. Also, the funny thing is, I think it was Jerry. I'm very confident it was Jerry, but he's saying it wasn't him, so it is what it is.
So I'm trying to figure out who told you.
And then, so yeah, I've been doing that for over a week. And then I got told yesterday by Kane, no, you need to be with an FTO 5 times. And looking at the paperwork, no one's signed you off on anything. So it is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so you can't remember which one in the white shirt told you?
Nope.
Or what they look like?
Nope. Male, that's all I can tell you. To be fair, I wasn't thinking of that conversation to be super important for me to remember it, right? I was being told to be solo. That I was solo. I was excited, right? Ready to get out there and show officer presence, right? And be involved in the community. That was my focus at that time, and to make sure that I had my case laws and 10 codes nailed. I wasn't thinking about exactly what the person was wearing when they were speaking to me. I'm being honest. I'm being told by someone who's higher than me that I could do this thing. So I'm taking that word for it. You know, I'm putting trust in my CO, my chain of command.
Okay. That's all right. That's fine.
I am quite snappy. I am quite blunt. But there's a reason to it, right? If I'm genuinely in the wrong, I'll accept it. I'll take it. I'll take the education and I'll move on, right? And I'll live and learn. Won't let me mistake twice. But it's just yeah. I know, yeah. I know, Rich, but it is what it is.
All right, Banks, do me a favor. I'm going to have a chat with Armani and Claire, because I think they see you more than I do.
Of course, yeah.
Just about the office, and I'll come out and give you a call.
Yeah, nice. Got any questions? Give me a shout. What I said.
I'll take a seat, Banks.
Yeah, nice.
All right, you being out there on your own, you've been instructed by someone, you can't remember who, and Armani's obviously said as well that has happened with other people, so I'm not going to remind you on that. However, moving forward, you have to be with an FTO, okay, when you're out there. You are not to be solo.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Then we make that clear.
Yep.
Secondly, I'm going to wrap round to the radio issue. Because you sat here and admitted that if it's not a 13 alpha or a 78 score, it goes in one ear and out the other.
So what I would say is...
Let me finish.
Yep.
Right? That needs to be rectified. Right? That's not okay. You need to knuckle down on that. Okay? Because regardless whether it's a 78 or 13 alpha, every radio traffic is important or could be important. Okay? Regardless of the context. It could be important to you. Could be important to someone else. If somebody's requesting the 77s and you're there just chatting to somebody about ice cream, it doesn't go in one ear and out the other. You need to respond to that.
No. So my two examples were be 38.
Let me finish. Right? So make sure you listen to that radio traffic and make sure it's rectified. Right? It needs to be listened to. It's very important. Very important. Right? Go on. What was you going to say?
So yeah, I never said ice cream. So what I was saying is a 38.
I never said you said it. I never said you said it was ice cream.
Okay, so like a 38 or a store robbery, right?
I'm giving an example. I never said you said it was ice cream. But you said you was there. You could be just talking to people, okay? And if it's not a 13 alpha or a 78 score, it goes in one ear and out the other.
Okay, yeah, okay, I can see how you picked that up. So if I'm in a situation, let's say, the way I look at it is, I've been looking at the SOPs, right? Is there's things that are green, amber, and red, right? So typically things are in red, felonies, that kind of stuff is code 3 response. I kind of process it the same way in my head. So a 38, right, would kind of sit maybe amber, top green. If there's a situation which is red, 100% that takes priority. Guys got to go. Have a good day, right? Boom, in the car, go. If it's a conversation around ice cream, that's not even on the list, right? And if I hear a request for 77 or even anything, right, active 80, I'm thinking, guys, you need additional for that? Are you max units? Can I support? What's the 20? Like, so everything is taken. I think that was maybe taken a little bit out of context. A priority is assigned. I'm just doing it in my head. So in that situation, when I'm on at 38, and they're in a sitting position, concealed, they might have a gun, somewhere hidden. If I take my attention off them for like 2-3 seconds, to try and listen in on something on the radio, I might not be here tomorrow, right? Because of that decision that I made in that situation. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, I will try my. I'm not actively filtering out shit, right? What I will say is I'm not deliberately ignoring something on purpose. But the person in front of me, that what they're saying might be louder than what's coming in my right ear. So I'm not purposely going to ignore a welfare check. Why would I do that? They're doing it for my safety. I'm not gonna look at that and go, well, I'm not gonna respond to that. That's what I will say on that.
Does
that make sense?
Do you have issues understanding when you're in the wrong?
Absolutely not. No, I would 100% take criticism, as long as it's backed up with facts and evidence, and then I'll make sure that I won't make that mistake again. Right. So the biggest criticism I've received so far up to this meeting was this whole in an 80 left heading left northbound Elgin, making a right the double direction. That's a habit, right? 7-8 years ingrained. I'm trying my best to get rid of that. If I've genuinely done something wrong, I'll put my hands up, right? Be accountable, and I won't make that mistake again.
Okay, so
Yep.
I'm going to be honest with you, Banks, here. It's not often. I'm pretty approachable and I'm pretty chill, right? But it's not often I swing a dick, okay? It really isn't often I swing a dick.
Oh, he's swinging it.
However,
He's swinging it.
in this situation, I'm going to swing a dick.
Swing it.
You're still in the cadet phase, okay? So you are in the probationary phase. You
Yep.
could be terminated from this department at any given time if I feel necessary, or one of my FTOs or supervisors approaches me about a matter that will be necessary for you to be terminated.
Of course, yeah.
I've given you feedback. It's all I'm hearing is kind of excuses, okay? I don't want to hear that. I want to hear you take accountability and say, yes, okay, I understand, I'm doing wrong, right? And
Yep.
then I want you to hear, and then I want to hear, say, yes, I will take that on board, and I'll move forward and do better with it.
I have taken that on board. I will move forward and do better with it.
I'm going to give you this shot, Banks. It's that simple. It's going to be one shot. If an FTO or a supervisor comes to me and says, this continues, then your position here with the
We got
NSPD
toasted.
will be terminated.
10-4.
All right. Get out there. Go outside. What shift do you work exactly entirely?
Which shift?
shift you got me
Mainly, here for the shift handover. And then it's maybe about 3 hours, 2-3 hours. And then sometimes I will be around early EU. I'd say in terms of percentage, probably 80-20, 90-10 split. I know I've been having some shifts with Danger. He's described, the shifts between NA and EU are totally different. So I'm trying to get experience in both ends of the court, so I can.
Right.
Be-
Okay.
yeah.
So which shift do you mainly
This one.
operate in?
This one right here.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. So what FTOs or supervisors do you see around more often than anything
Let me
else?
open up my MDT. Let me see. I'd say the biggest person I've probably spoke to more is Matt. So Gray.
Gray isn't an FTO anymore.
Okay. So yeah, great. That's probably the most. And then I'd say, was it Johnson?
Okay. So let me read off a list of the FTOs.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you tell me which ones you see more often in your shift.
Yep.
Hunter Newman, Nicole Hamilton, Austin Johnson, Sebastian Kane, DeFalco, Frank Danger, Anita May, Derek Pedersen, Vinny Anami, Claire Everly. That's the FTOs. Then the supervisors.
Everly rings a bell. Danger, I've been with him, but not when he's officially been an
me.
FTO. Yeah, I think like that. Oh, sorry, someone with red hair. Red hair.
Anita May,
Baron.
That's yep.
Alexandra Hall. Which one? No, May. Sorry.
May. Yep.
Well, they're both May.
Oh, they're both May.
Yeah.
Someone with red
And they
hair.
both
That's
got
all I
red
remember.
hair.
I-
They both got red hair.
That's all I remember is FTO red hair. She was very nice.
Around this time, it's probably Anita.
Um,
That would make sense.
She was in ICU at one point. I remember that because I checked in on her, make sure she was okay. But the
Yeah,
day after,
Anita.
yeah.
That's Anita.
We've got
she's
field training
in ICU.
supervisors, which is Andy Salter, Peter Burke, Vic Jankowski, Jack Burton, and Nick Kane. So out of all of them names I've given you, if you could give me 2 names whose shift you see on most, more than anything else.
So before Gray got fired, him, Anita, and there was a third one in there. Say the FTO names again for me, please.
Okay, that'd be Hunter Newman, Nicole Hamilton, Austin Johnson,
Johnson.
Sebastian
Yep,
Kane.
that's the guy, Johnson.
Austin
We did
Johnson.
forensics. Yeah, we did a shit ton of forensics one day. There was a live scene, like maybe 2:30 alpha calls up in Chiliad. We went close to the Rangers, and then we did a makeshift forensics. We went to the oil fields, and he gave me some tips there. Then we went to the RPD, and then we did some stuff there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got Zachary Howland, who's an FTO. He's around right now. Let's see if he's available.
Yeah, there's.
You want me to see if he's he's available?
357-104 direct.
I'm terrible with names, by the way. I'm fucking awful with names.
Howland.
352, you said, right?
Okay.
Looks like he
well,
might
he's
be
probably-
processing
he's
somebody. Let me
processing.
give
I don't see him.
Okay.
Oh, there.
Leave him.
357.
If he's processing, leave him.
Okay.
Vinny, are you available?
Yeah, I need to talk to you for a bit, but I will be sure.
Okay. Vinny, can you take Banks out? I want you to drill it into him. All right, what we just spoke about and discussed today. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Banks, feel free to just go and wait outside for Vinny.
Yeah.
You better
Nurse.
trim him.